Got a track, baggy jeans, stocking caps. I just finished playing a jazz club. The tour bus was waiting while the stage was packed.
The tour has been a raging success as far as I'm concerned for the past 3 months. We've been touring it. We've done Copenhagen, Brussels, Amsterdam, Belgrade, and of course all up and down this country. And it's been great, the kind of differences in reaction, but usually unanimously positive. In terms of audience members, we've had people sort of 50 plus, 60 plus really getting into it. And then teenagers saying that they appreciate the jazz music and the saxophone playing. So I think for that reason it's catching quite a few people off guard. The people that are the institutions, where they're going to be slow on the uptake, are retailers. It's that they've got very rigid blinkers on what they consider to be hip hop. And I feel personally aggrieved that men in suits around boardrooms are deciding what is and what isn't hip hop. They've ordained that this album shouldn't be classed as a hip hop album, so it's not featuring in the hip hop section. And that's something that, I guess the power of distribution companies and retailers has been overstated, and they're starting to encroach on what is essentially our culture.
So nowadays everybody raps, everybody's rocking mics, hoping to see you topple back. Every dog sniffing for where the promise of dollars at. Everybody got a track, baggy jeans, stocking caps. Just the other day, I was waiting for the train, with 4 hefty bags collapsing under the strain. Even my fingers were developing varicose veins, plus my jeans got all torn and covered in rain. Oh, man. I'm dreaming of...
We take our performances very seriously as a piece of theatre as well as music and as a musical experience. Largely partly because of my background. My mother's an actress and my father's a playwright, and I was always aware of, I guess, the power of theatre to communicate something on an intellectual level, not just an entertainment level. So for me, there's not that trade-off of is it just showmanship without artistic integrity. And also because the new album is very much a storyline, very much a narration. And I feel it's important to, rather than just act and bring a bunch of characters onto the stage, to sort of bring an audience into the concept. People and real experiences. A lot of the people in the album are an amalgamation of 4 or 5 different people who I've come into contact with. There's stories of unreciprocated love, unrequited love, and lusting for celebrity dollars. And I mean, a lot of that comes to doing the album in a different way because we've got narration, because we've got a sound bed, a soundscape and stuff. But the visuals was tremendously important to communicate those aspects which the album couldn't. So I think that we're traversing lots of different genres, hopefully, in different art forms, in telling a story, which I think is the most important thing, telling a story. I've started working with quite a few prestigious people, and that's happened over the years on quite a few occasions. I played with Hugh Masekela, Wynton Marsalis, most recently Sir George and the Choco Brahma project, which took us to Brazil. Picked up a few friends along the way, such as Giles Peterson and Mark de Clive Lowe and Bembe Segwe. And it's good to meet kindred spirits, people who have high artistic standards. I guess what it's always reminding me, though, I mean, it was similar when I did a support for KRS-One. Even though the artists themselves might have the highest goals and the highest sort of standards, sometimes that whole world that they're surrounded in can be a bit of a disappointment. And that's something that figures quite strongly in the new album storyline, that beneath the veneer of celebrity and fame, it's still all about whether the art stands up to scrutiny, whether the creativity is really there, or if it's just empty vessels making a lot of noise.
From the first to this occasion, the next lyricist to test, I'll incinerate him. He'll need hip replacements, complete obliteration.
I think I incorporate a lot of hip-hop influences and elements into my music now in a way that wasn't the case with the first album, because it's an integral part of who I am. I felt with the first statement it was important to show I was studying the jazz lineage, and I felt the heritage was very important. But I was at the same time part of cyphers and freestyling, and I've been a member of a hip-hop group since '94. I see this as a very important crossroads for hip-hop right now. It's at a point where we can't just bang out beats and turntables and rhymes, and we need to evolve to hip-hop songs that could be played at a funeral or a wedding reception, or songs that you could sit down and reflect on dolefully. Songs that have the same emotional arc as every other genre, and that's where I see jazz has a critical role. And although rock and electro have huge markets, and jazz isn't quite respected in industry terms in the same way, I feel that because of the direct lineage, the direct inheritance that hip-hop has to jazz, from Bojangles right through to the Last Poets and the Watts Poets, it is important for jazz musicians to appropriate hip-hop, and vice versa for the hip-hop generation to see that jazz ballad moved me to tears. That in-your-face jazz song made me want to tap my feet and dance in a way I've not been familiar to dancing.